Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me in beautifully sunny Beverly Hills for a bit of a Lamborghini video, because behind me we have a Lamborghini Reventon. Now this is the same car that I had, well, about 30 seconds behind the wheel of at Car Week. Today though, I'm going to take it for a drive in a little bit more detail to enjoy what was really the first of the Lamborghini hypercars, the predecessor to what's become this line with the likes of the Aventador J, the Veneno, the Sesto Elemento, the Centenario, and in future, the upcoming codenamed LB48H. So let's find out then where it really began with the Reventon, then head out for a drive with the Performante in tow as well. Let's do this. This car then, the Lamborghini Reventon. I'm not entirely sure how you actually pronounce it. We normally just say Reventon. It is of course the name of a Spanish fighting bull, as all of the Lamborghinis pretty much are named, and I think that means you roll the R and you have a B instead of a V, but I'm just going to call it Reventon because it's slightly less confusing. They made 20 of these as coupes and then 15 also as Roadsters, which followed that. Based at the time on the LP640, the Murcielago, the facelift version, and that means back here, the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 in this car, making about 650 horsepower and almost 700 newton meters of torque. The car had a top speed of 221 miles per hour. Now, although it was based on the Murcielago platform, the entire bodywork is new, unique and distinct for this car, inspired by fighter jets. You see that in the stealthy satin grey of the paintwork, but also in the designs, the sharp edges. And you have to remember, at the time, this was really a departure from the norm to create these kind of one-off hypercars, to go down this route, and clearly this was a success when you look at the cars that it's prompted and introduced since then, or Lamborghini have introduced since then. With this car you have things like a digital dashboard, you have carbon fibre on the wheels, all of these new technologies really, predecessor to then the mainstream models that would come later. So some of the technology from this, for example, that went into the SV, and then also just teasing and looking forwards towards the design of the Aventador. When the Aventador launched with a similar look to the front bumpers, I had loads of people telling me, hey, I've just spotted a Reventon. Well, unfortunately not. These are kind of few and far between. Out of the 20, there are 10 here in the US, 7 in Europe, and only 3 more in the rest of the world originally when they were supplied. Have a look at the interior though. You've got these amazing Lamborghini doors that open straight upwards. You've got this olive Alcantara, the really kind of just off dark green Alcantara with the black leather as well. Inside the car, fixed bucket seats. It's a pretty awkward seating position when you're actually inside the car, but very Lamborghini. You know, the seat belts here in the center. Looking around, the paddle shift gearbox, the sequential automated manual. We'll see more of the displays and things a little bit later on. Lots of carbon fibre as well. But this car, like I said, it really triggered what has become a bit of a trend to go down this route of making the hypercars and the successes that they're having. And you might know of what is coming next. Lamborghini have teased what they're going to be launching at the Frankfurt Motor Show, the IAA. And some Googling suggests it might be called the Unico. I guess we're going to have to wait and see what it's going to be like and all of the details. But I expect it's going to give us insight towards the next model, the Aventador successor. 48 presumably stands for 48 volt, H for hybrid. We're going to have to wait and see. I suspect a hybrid V12, and that is a very exciting proposition if you ask me. Also, for what the Aventador replacement is going to be like itself. So this car then, pretty much calling out our name then to take it for a drive. I'm going to be joined by Nick, the owner of the car, who will come along for the ride. Also here today with the stunning Performante in that dark green with the off gold, the kind of bronze wheels that it has as well. This is a lovely, lovely specification with its V10. So we've got the 2 different model lines from Lamborghini, the baby line with the V10 we could say, and the grown-up lines with the V12. Let me come through then, get this started up just now. Before we go out for this drive, we're definitely going to be needing some air conditioning. It is boiling hot today. Of course, you don't have to worry about the doors hitting anything, which is always a nice bonus. Just need to make sure we lock and unlock because the immobilizer needs to be deactivated. Pop this in, turn the key, dashboard wakes up. You can see just in front of us with those tri-TFT displays, and it comes into life. What a sound. You do have a sport mode selector just here. Climate controls are hidden away behind that. We'll have a better look later on, I think, at the exterior. Sounds good, doesn't it? All right then, let's grab Nick and head on out for a drive. It's time to drive, and we're joined by Nick. How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Good to see
I'm
you.
very good. You're the lucky man who gets to drive this car.
Yeah, very lucky, very
So, let's get the doors down, which is always so unbelievably cool.
Great.
Get a nice firm thud. No.
Every time.
The seat belts in a Mercy or in the Reventon are in the centre, and it throws you off so much.
It's Lamborghini style every time.
They always like to make it as difficult as possible, or they did always like to make it as difficult as possible. Cars like your Performante are much yes, that's nice. much easier to drive. And I'm going to point out at this point in time, by the way, got to be gentle with the clutch as we pull it away, that you're just starting a YouTube channel too.
Exactly, yeah.
So people can find more videos with your cars over there. Okay, sport mode then.
Exactly.
You just have to pull forwards really gently.
Yeah, really, really gently.
And after you've got off the line, and basically the clutch is released, because it's just an automatically controlled clutch, that's when you can put your foot down.
Sounds amazing.
It feels like proper raw, old school Lamborghini.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie, my seating position, right? The steering wheel is offset to the right, the pedals are also to the right. It feels awkward. The shape of the car is really funny, the way it's like this wedge down towards the front.
Exactly. It's like shifted down.
Yeah, you feel like you're almost kind of falling forwards. Right, gently does it, gently pulls away. If you go on it too quickly, it kind of lurches around like crazy.
The thing with the Mercy, you really have to rev this thing out to actually get anything from it.
Yes.
Aventador is slightly different, but
definitely completely different. Even though the Aventador still has this kind of gearbox, but the future cars, I'm pretty sure, are going to have dual clutch gearboxes.
100% they will, yeah.
Up the game. There we go. The downshift noise, though. The downshift is just mega. Now we do have a lift system. Press the button just here.
It's not as quick as the Ford GT lift system.
It's not bad.
It's good enough.
It's much quicker than many of the more modern versions. Okay, we'll go through that dip. Lift back down. You've got other buttons also to do the side vents, which are up at the moment. So those are always the Batman wing kind of things that you have. Exactly. Those are always immensely cool. Oh yeah, we do have another nice dip here.
Welcome to
America. We go again.
All these stop signs as well.
Stop signs, dips in the road,
big trucks.
Everything that makes life awkward when you're driving in a car like a Reventon.
Exactly.
Okay. Dashboard view is really cool.
Yeah.
The way you have this. I don't know how to describe it.
It's kind of like a fighter jet cluster, I guess.
Yeah.
The Speedo is more like a fighter jet cluster. But
what you're looking at on the left side, the way you've got the gear selector in the centre.
Yeah.
Okay. It feels raw.
It does.
It's not as loud, I think, when you've got the windows closed and stuff as I expected.
Yeah, so actually in this thing it's got double glazing. If you look at the window, it's really, really thick.
Oh yeah, and even just that downshift, how much louder that was.
Completely different. I mean, if you're behind this car and you're properly flooring it, it sounds incredible. Obviously the car's slightly different.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we can just go. Let's squeeze out front. Okay, we're good. Right. The seating position is so funny. You feel like you're pointing slightly, not straight.
Yeah, it's really odd.
Wow. So we're cruising around Beverly Hills at the moment, so it's not foot flat.
Nope.
In terms of driving, though, it's actually quite comfortable.
It is very comfortable. Even the seats, the newer seats, the Hurricane race seats are terrible.
Yeah, these are much better.
These are much better.
This seat is nicely, certainly seats depend a lot on your shape and size.
Exactly.
They fit me very, very nicely. The angle's good. You can't adjust the backrest at all, can you? It's fixed.
No, exactly.
So you've got to kind of just make do with. I love the downshift.
That's the best.
The into first gear downshift is just mega.
It's like rev matching.
Yes, it's like getting a perfect heel and toe rev match, controlled by the gearbox. Okay, so I mean it's a very valuable, very rare, very, very, very special car. But it's amazing how they were one of the first basically to do this, to introduce this idea of car, to take their series model, the LP640, to make this. This came out before the LP670 Supercharger, didn't it?
That's correct. So it doesn't actually have the LP670 engine. It has the LP640 engine, but obviously at the factory they chose the engine through the highest horsepower when they dynoed
really
the cars.
Quite fun. So they built all the engines, found the ones that were best, and then put those. That's really cool.
And what's interesting enough is you could have optioned this car with a manual gearbox.
Could you?
Yeah, but no one did.
So they did. That's fascinating.
But no one ever opted it because obviously at the time the paddle shift was the new technology. That's what everyone wanted.
That's
Could you imagine a car with a manual gearbox? That'd be crazy.
Not one of the coupes or the Roadsters have a manual?
Not one.
That is genuinely fascinating. Yeah. So they had the option. Yeah. I didn't know that, but I mean, I have heard, of course, from the likes of Ed at VinWiki that how rare the gated manual is.
Crazy rare, especially US spec. Crazy rare.
That's really interesting. It's really, really interesting.
What I found definitely, so I've driven Mercies as well, but compared to the Mercy, this is definitely more comfortable. I mean, cruising in 6th gear down the highway, we go obviously every year to Monterey.
Yeah.
Cruising this thing.
You drove it up?
Perfect, drove it up every year.
You drove this from LA to Monterey? That's so cool.
And back.
So about 400 miles each way?
Exactly.
Legend.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Obviously it hurts your back, you need a pillow, a bit of back.
Yeah. How's it for luggage space?
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Support car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Truck. Got a massive truck. So.
Makes it work. And you've installed the screen as well for...
No, so this comes from factory.
Oh, does it?
It's a Kenwood from factory.
Okay.
Obviously the graphics aren't terrible. Aren't the best, but...
Yeah. Alright, I'm trying to squeeze through.
What's interesting about this car though is you've got a combination of wet carbon and dry carbon at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. So the dashboard topper is in dry carbon.
You've got the paddles in dry carbon and the rest in wash carbon. I don't know whether you could get these in carbon, the dual cars in carbon.
Well, they look pretty good in this colour scheme. I mean, do you know what? I think it's quite cool that they made everyone have to be in this spec.
Yes.
Because obviously nowadays you never get a limited car where they're all spec'd
You're completely
the same.
And obviously for values of cars, spec does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it's great to that they're all the same. Didn't have a choice. You got.
And you can't have this paint colour now, can you? You can't go to Ad Personam and say, "Hey, I want my Performante."
It might be slightly different. You can get something very close, but you will not
never get this exact shade. The Reventon.
Even the interior are the same. You can't have this.
Oh, you can't have the Aventador.
Nope.
That's actually really cool. I like that. I really like.
They like to be special because someone could buy like a Mercy, put this stuff on and fake it up as a rental. So they didn't want that. They wanted it to be special, proper.
Wow. Starts to come to life a bit more, doesn't it?
It does.
The terror of Beverly Hills. Literally. I mean, if you saw this thing coming towards you, it does look like that kind of Batmobile.
Exactly. Especially with our license plate as well.
Yeah, Gotham.
Go crazy.
But I don't think it's not that loud. I mean, even when you use decent revs, it's only when you downshift.
The downshift.
That's
from behind, it sounds incredible.
Yeah.
When another car behind, it sounds amazing. But from the inside the cabin, it's not crazy. And obviously, you have double glazing here, double glazing the back as well. So it's actually quite quiet in the cabin.
So they made it too civilised. This car shouldn't be civilised.
No.
It should be like uncomfortable and impractical, silly, and just make no sense. Wave through here. Oh, the bumps.
It's not really Lamborghini-esque, I guess. Not really.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ethos was probably slightly different. I think it was more about the design of the car, the exterior design, which was more important to them, what it actually looked like.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's style of after a fighter, 22 fighters.
But I mean, if I can be crude about this, Lamborghini certainly. This was the end of the era where a Lamborghini was not. They were never famed for being comfortable, practical,
not at all.
usable.
Well, this is the generation where Audi stepped in.
Yeah, so this was basically one of the first of the Audi era cars.
Exactly, it is.
So this was, I'm trying to place this, the LP640 was the first Audi Lamborghini. So the first Lamborghini model to be released under Audi ownership.
Exactly.
So this was then, well, clearly the trigger of the onslaught of the hypercars.
Exactly.
And I mean, what I also like about Lamborghini is they've kept the numbers, up to this point at least, incredibly tight.
Very tight.
20 of these, 15 Roadsters, the 1 Aventador J, the 3 Veneno Coupes, the 9 Veneno Roadsters.
Very low.
I think 20 Sesto Elementos. I'm not sure if they made the 20 in total.
No, they didn't. They didn't sell them.
Never see that.
30.
Yeah, so that's even rarer.
And what I also like is they do put a badge on the back telling you which one.
And they're all numbered.
Exactly, they're all numbered.
And then the Centenario, 20 Coupes, 20 Roadsters.
Exactly.
And then I think there'll be more from what I've heard of the next generation.
Yes, exactly.
We'll see more of that literally quite soon, which is going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
But I can see where it began because this is so iconic, unique.
It's such an iconic car.
I didn't even realise it's in third there, and it's just like drop a gear, drop a gear. And I know what we've got rattling down there.
Well, we definitely need this just in case.
Just in case. It should never happen.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a Lambo day though. You never know.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised. So when I drove it with you when I was up with the Stradman for all of literally 30 or 60 seconds or something, my initial feeling was like the awkward seating position, not really getting the car, and not enough time to actually work it out. I had no idea that it was going to be this drivable and usable and easy.
It's really usable. That's why I drive it to Monterey every year.
Yeah,
it's so easy
because you can.
You can.
And then. Off goes the perfo. Oh, this is where I kind of wish we were out of the city so that we could probably put the foot down.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Yeah, it takes about 2 hours to get out of the city.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's much cooler to be able to drive the Reventon. And probably you're going to have some videos on your channel, I would imagine.
I will, very soon.
Driving this car in anger.
In the canyons.
That's so epic.
It will be epic.
You're going to have such a good time with this.
So much fun.
Just look after it.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to sort it out.
No.
And get the paint and get the other materials and get everything.
I mean, every time when we go on Highway 1 on PCH, they're always stones on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So you always have to be careful. But no, it's nice in the canyons all the time. So.
Okay, let me just do something for a second. One window down. Neutral. That sounds so epic.
It does. Maybe it needs an exhaust.
I mean, it will only get more epic. It would be very easy to overdo it. You do see Mercies that just get crazy loud. At least in the US, you kind of can do that. You'd never get away with it in Europe.
Exactly.
This is like, I mean, you get away with it, but you just have people constantly shouting at you, waving fingers at you, saying, "Hey, your car's too loud."
Way too loud.
It looks scary. It must be going really fast, even if you're actually not. Just
this car does look like it's going faster than it actually is. Most of the
I think
time.
that's the wedge shape, the incredibly low front, the aggressive lines and edges it has.
The wheels as well. It's like a turbine.
Yes.
Much faster than you actually are. With the carbon blades and stuff.
But they always do such a great job with the design, having this kind of smooth wedge that goes down towards the very back of the car.
Exactly. I mean, Lamborghinis are so iconic. They do, obviously they've changed their design language slightly, especially with the lights and kind of wires that they kind of use.
Well, this is pretty epic if you ask me. Even just being able to drive the car, find out a bit more about it.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously they're 20 made, but not many of them get driven often.
No, yours is probably the most frequently driven car.
Definitely.
The most frequently seen car for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's not stowed away in collections and not really used, but I think you've got to use these cars, you have to. You can't let them sit.
I think it's amazing that you actually take it to events. You take it out.
Show it to people. They've got to see these things.
I think you've had some other people driving it as well in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you've allowed me to take it for a drive, which I very much appreciate.
No, anytime.
To be able to share a little bit about what the car is like.
Anytime.
And I'm just overwhelmed by how it's nothing like as clumsy as I expected it to be. That's the thing that's really...
It's an odd one. People do always complain about the Mercy, saying how clunky the gearbox is.
You just have to get the technique to drive it.
Yeah, you have to learn. It doesn't take too long as well.
There's downshifts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You just like pull the paddle, and it revs up instantly, and you feel lots of the vibration of it as well.
Yeah, especially the road feel.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not electric steering, obviously it's hydraulic steering. You can feel every bump. That's very difficult, obviously, difficult drive.
It's quite a small steering wheel.
It is.
Alcantara grips.
It is. But then again, the seating position is just so off. It's just so off.
And also it's weird having the seatbelt coming up over the middle.
Weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
But like now, if you wanted to be quieter and you go up into 4th gear,
you cruise.
It does cruise.
Cruising the highway, of course, going the speed limit.
Always.
It can be very quiet. And actually, there's tons of room in here. I mean, I've got tons of leg room down here. Tons of room to put stuff.
There's a lot of space.
There is.
It feels like it's really quite wide down in the footwells. It's not like a modern carbon tubed car.
And headroom is great. Actually, it's good. Really?
For us, we're okay.
Yeah, we're okay, but if you're slightly taller.
Not much taller than me. You're trying to squeeze a helmet on or something. You've got no chance.
No chance. But you've got some pretty sure comforts, I guess. You can hang your phone for charging. It doesn't have any side pockets. The best thing though is
the doors. So you can technically drive it with the doors up. So you literally.
That's what we did in Monterey when it was so hot. You just drive and hold the doors up so they don't flip back.
Yeah.
And you just hold it up.
Okay, we're gonna have to pull forward like this.
That's fine. Or you can just hold it with your foot. That's fine.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep my feet down on the pedals.
Yeah. Roll back.
That's genuinely hilarious.
It's like ventilation.
It is.
But
It's nice. It's like driving a 300 SL.
It's better than the aircon.
That's jokes, and there's a lot of sound as well. I can immediately hear more of the suction.
So why don't we just take,
wow.
Yeah.
Actually,
we should just take the doors off.
Could you imagine? It's like driving an old BMW.
What's awesome is you stick your foot out like this.
Yeah.
Just touch the ground.
Yeah, we can do that. That feels inappropriate.
It's very.
Oh, that was loud. Okay, I'm gonna close this. They're quite heavy doors.
They are very heavy.
Not like a McLaren carbon or something.
I mean, it's not crazy awkward getting into the car. It's actually getting into the car.
No, getting into the car is not at all. There's a decent amount of it. All comes down to how much room there is down in the footwell.
Exactly. I mean, there are tons of new cars now. You've probably seen them. You can't get into.
Yep. Well, lots.
You have to step on the seat and they get in.
Valkyrie.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, do you know what? These things are getting crazy. When this came out, those things didn't really exist. The height of crazy hypercar was the Bugatti Veyron,
Exactly.
the Enzo, the Carrera GT,
Exactly.
and then this
Only
came.
3.
And isn't it insane how now we're looking at cars like, well, Koenigsegg and Bugatti have both risen to the market in a big way, but also Valkyrie, AMG 1, Senna.
Yep.
The way it's to stand out now, they go to such extremes.
Exactly.
But this was extreme at the time.
Exactly.
But nowadays it's actually relatively sanitized.
Exactly. I mean, obviously the concept of just it's kind of a coach-built car because obviously you have the chassis and the engine, and all you do is change the body. Obviously there's some interior changes in the dash, but
it's quite interesting.
Kind of coach-built concept.
Yeah.
Is what was happening then.
And I think that's only going to become more and more. You've seen it with Lamborghini. They made the SC18 Elston.
Yep. Exactly.
Squadra Corsa.
Exactly.
Teaming forces with Cento Stile, the design department. My Italian, I'm sorry, I'm butchering it horribly. I've butchered Spanish and Italian languages in this video.
Actually, that's a good question. How do we pronounce the name?
Well, I was talking a little bit about this earlier on the video. It's a hard one because I believe in Spanish you say Reventon, something like that.
Yeah,
you kind of roll the R's and then it's a B instead of a B. But Reventon was a Spanish bull, which, if I'm right in saying this, the name refers to like bursting out, bursting into the sea.
You're correct.
Which is exactly what it was supposed to mean. It also means, although it wasn't meant to mean, something about a flat tire. It means like getting a flat tire as well. But we're not going to have that.
No.
In this case, it was meant to be named after the bull, as Lamborghinis often are. I think how many Lamborghinis haven't been? Egoista. I never mentioned that earlier on as well. The Egoista was kind of the single seat one-off they made.
With the orange screen.
Yes, and then the Centenario was obviously named for Ferruccio Lamborghini's what would have been his 100th birthday.
Exactly.
But this is where it all began, and it's been a very, very interesting car for me to drive, to experience, and to learn a little bit more about, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So I appreciate this chance. Thank you very much.
Don't worry, anytime. And, it's also nice to be able to drive in California where the weather's so nice.
Yes, it is. Do you ever wish you had the Roadster? Or just think you'd spend your whole life doing... Does it have a roof? Does the Reventon Roadster have a roof?
It's a tartan roof. It's not.
It has the thing that's a nightmare to put on and off.
And you can only drive it at like, 90 miles an hour and then you're screwed.
Yeah. Oh well.
And then it flies off. It's a bit like the F50. Obviously that has the hard roof, but also
a few cars that now do this. The F60 America, the SA Aperta, these kind of fabric roof temporary things.
They're terrible.
It's like if it's raining, you can bail out.
Well, that's what I love about the Koenigsegg. You can stick it in the front.
Yep. And Pagani's, because the Roadster roof goes up front. Not the Huayra Roadster roof. No. Not the Bugatti Grand Sport roof. No. Coupe though, we're all good. Problem solved.
Yeah, exactly.
We've pulled up then at the Ogara Lamborghini Service Centre, where you can spot a brand new Huracan Evo over my shoulder. But let me show you a few more things about the interior. Performante just over on the other side. So the interior here of the Reventon, and look at that dashboard. And here you can see what I was saying about the rev counter. You get your gear selector in the middle. So if I just pull the upshift paddle, you can see how that goes up, and it goes up through the various gears. And then the small problem to go back into neutral, pulling both paddles just quickly, you can see and you can hear it as well, the mechanical sound. And then this whole bar actually goes up as you rev it. So really, really cool setup. So you've got this triple displays, the one in the center that shows we're in sport, the wing is up, and also the side vents are opened as well. Around the car in general, very nice materials, stitching. Look at this, the Reventon logo embroidery there that you've got on the door cards. Very, very narrow door mirrors, the way they're almost that kind of rectangular shape coming out to the side. The glass window extends a long way out in front of us as well, but generally inside it's all pretty nice. Even the backboard here has the quilting on it. You've got the car plaque here, number 7 out of 20. A quick view through towards the engine. Not the easiest to see that much going on back there from this angle. And then on the inside, the climate control hidden behind this. To turn that down, obviously it's blowing quite strongly at the moment because it's a boiling hot day. The digital system here that you have, mirror controls, lift system, traction control to open and close the side vents. You've got a few more buttons here to do with sport mode, and also traction. I'm actually not sure how those 2 buttons work, but you've got the window switches, fold the mirrors, hazards, fuel cap release, which is over on the right hand side. And then the armrest as well with a little bit of storage, and these seat belts that come out from the middle. To shut it off though, I am literally going to pop it into first gear. The fly off handbrake down here is on, so that's to release, and then that's on. Complicated one if you're not familiar with those. And then just turn the key, take it out of life. This is the key from the era, Lamborghinis at the time, crest on the back, and everything switches itself off. The door, you kind of give it a push up with your elbow here. So just where that pad is, you give it a push and it opens up. You get to press all the way. The hydraulics support that and actually keep it open. Then of course the paintwork you can see in the sunshine gleaming away. Engine bay looking fantastic. The rear of this thing is just super aggressive, and the reference we made earlier to the number plate as well, Gotham 8. Very, very Batmobile-esque when you take in these shapes. And again, this is why people referred or thought they were seeing these when the Aventador came out, because this gave a look towards the design of the Aventador, particularly with these shapes around the tail lights, with those Ys that you have in the bulbs. Very familiar shapes that you have on many Lamborghinis now as well. Hexagonal shapes pretty much all around the car too, as you explore it. And really, a very impressive thing, to be honest, compared to what I expected out of it. Look at the design though. Look at these inspirations of fighter jet style that you have here to the fuel caps, just the aggression of it all. Rear spoilers that lifts up. Yeah, really, really, really special thing. Incredibly rare. Only 20 of them in total. And a look towards, I guess, or a start for me to think and look towards what's coming next from Lamborghini. I certainly can't wait to see it. I think it's not going to be that long now though, until we find out a little bit more. For now though, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
I've enjoyed this an awful lot, guys. I'm going to pop Nick's Instagram and your YouTube channel if it's up and running, link down below. And there'll be plenty more videos, I think, with this and some of the other cars and some of the cars you have coming in the future.
Yeah, very soon.
Very exciting stuff as well. So thanks again, thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, but that is it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.